Hey, Liam here from DigiWasm Multimedia. Thanks for joining me in this Blender 2.82 tutorial. In this episode, we're going to be discussing the use of normals to kind of spruce up our simplified models. As you can see, we have a scene here in object mode in solid view, and our models are pretty simple. As we look around, we can see that this genetically modified remote control laser ants backpack here is extremely simple. Same with the autonomous rover that's accompanying them on whatever they're doing. And by the way, you can probably see the COVID cabin crazy kind of taking its toll here at our homestead. Anyways, as you look around, you can see this is a very simple model, easy, cheesy. So this is what it looks like in object mode. So the purpose of this video is to talk about normal maps and how we can spruce up our models using normal stamping in Substance Painter to create some cool details that really aren't there. If you're new to 3D modeling, normal maps are basically things we can do to our model that make it look like it has a lot more detail than it actually does. It's a way of creating a map that cheats the camera and tells the camera that light should be reflecting a certain way depending on the fake geometry. So you can have lower poly models and you can put a lot more detail on there in a pretty surprisingly easy way to do, which we'll do in the second video of this. This is really just a discussion of normal maps. And while we're on that subject, I'd like to say that I saw the promo for Unreal Engine 5, and it's super impressive. Comes out in, I guess, 2021 sometime. And I noticed they were saying that it supports so much geometry that there may not be a need for normal maps, which is amazing. That's great as an artist that you'd be able to use as much geometry as you want. However, I think bandwidth issues with the internet and other things are going to still make it so that people are going to use normal maps no matter what. There's just always going to be places where you could use a normal map to make your scene look better and not crank up the gigabytes or even terabytes of data you would have to transfer. So I agree with everybody who's saying that. Otherwise, Unreal Engine 5, check it out. Their promo looks outstanding. So I can't wait to mess around with that. Okay, so this is the scene in object mode, just to show that it has very little geometry. If we hit tab and go into edit mode, we can see that the vehicle has really very low poly on the actual vehicle itself. Now, I could have optimized the wheels a little better. I don't know what I was doing. I could have done that a lot better. And obviously for video games or whatever, you definitely want to optimize all this stuff. I really just threw this easy model together so that we could show that a relatively simple geometry can be made to look a lot cooler with the use of normal maps. Okay, cool. And if I hit tab again and go back into object mode, and then this time let's select all of the objects here real quick like. And then if we hit tab again, we can see that the ants also have a little bit of simple geometry. I used a little bit more geometry on the ant parts, especially the head. This is obviously not the way you want to do this. I sculpted this head in dynamic topology within Blender, and then I decimated it, and then I used a kind of a control left click method of creating seams. Now they get real jagged, but honestly you really can't tell when I show you here the textures that are on it. So that's a mistake, and I could have used less geometry in these wheels, so obviously we would want to optimize it. The rest of the ant looks halfway okay. I also could have optimized that more as well. So don't look too close at the modeling. Some of it's probably kind of suspect. All right, cool. So that's what it looks like in edit mode. I'm going to go back to object mode. All right, and then finally, if we hit Z, we can go into rendered. And it'll take a second, and there we are. Okay, and this is what the scene looks like as it's rendered after we've given a paint job to everything. You can see the genetically modified remote control laser ants have their own texture. They have a little laser backpack and helmet thing. The truck has, the rover, has a bunch of detail that you can't see in the geometry. And that's the beauty of normal maps. And that's really what we're here to talk about. So if we get in close, we can see that the vehicle appears to have a lot more geometry than it actually does. There's bolts on the tires, there's vents, there's all kinds of stuff all over the truck. As we come around here and look at the Ants laser backpack, we can see that it also has its own details that are pretty cool. And these are all created within Substance Painter using just the default hard surface normal map stamps that they have in Substance Painter. So it's pretty cool. So that'll be video 2. We'll actually detail this rover vehicle. And so I just wanted to show you what this all looks like and what normal maps can do. If I hit Control-Alt-Spacebar, we can actually see what the normal map for this truck looks like. If I just hover in this window here and hit Control-Alt-Spacebar, we can see that this is what the normal map that was generated in Substance Painter for that truck looks like. And you can see as we get in here, these are all the details that are on the truck. Now, if you're new to 3D modeling, a normal map is always going to be this purple color, and there's some blues and greens in there. And what it does is it basically kind of tells the camera that some spots should be lower and some spots should be higher. And it also tells the camera how light should reflect off of these objects. The cool thing about painting like this in Substance Painter is we can go in and create all the normal data we want, export the normal map, re-import the normal map, and then use it as our normal map. And then all of the paint job that we do over these elements will actually have edge wear, dust, and all of the other cool effects that Substance Painter has. So that'll be video 2. This one's just talking about what normal maps are, how we can use them, and how we can paint them and get them in our scene. All right, Control-Alt-Spacebar to get out of that, and then Control-Alt-Spacebar to get into this one. All right, cool. So that's about where I'm going to leave this video. In the next video, we will be decorating this truck. It'll probably be one of those videos where I illustrate the concept, we'll solidify the concept, and then I'll probably speed along so we don't take too much time. And then at the end, we'll finish the paint job and we'll show you how to export this normal map and then re-import it in before you do the paint job. So if you're interested in this and how to make simplified objects look like they have a lot more detail through normal maps, then stay tuned for episode 2 of this series. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.